Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Welcome to all of you joining us. We are talking about one of our symposiums coming up here at Gold Learning, and I'm so excited to be talking about it because honestly, this is one of the things that I just love about programming here is that we can go into great detail and we can also look at big picture. And one of the things when we talk about looking at big picture is investing in our families. So this particular symposium is called Gold Learning Early Years Online Symposium. And it is a compilation of professionals talking about the different aspects of what we can do to invest in families' lives in the early years. So with that, I'm delighted to introduce to you my very special guest here today, Nikki Riemann. Welcome, Nikki. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you, Fiona. It's lovely to be here with you.
And so, Nikki, you're, of course, going to be speaking at our early years symposium with many other professionals who are just as excited, I think, as you are to share what they do. I have to say that you're also passionate, including yourself, about the particular things that you focus on. And I know you're going to be talking about reflexes, which have become almost, I would say, a little bit popular. I think they're getting a little bit more attention now in quite a few different areas in the perinatal field and then beyond, of course. But your title is called Back to Birth, The Power of Primitive Reflexes to Rebuild Brain Foundations. So tell me a little bit about the topic. Let's dive into the topic because this is so fascinating to us. So let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Yeah, sure. Well, you're right, Fiona. They are starting to get a bit more traction out there, and the importance of them in our bodies and in our brain is starting to be understood, which is really exciting because if we do understand primitive reflexes from birth and even before birth, so these are reflexes that are active in the body during pregnancy as well, in that fetus that's developing into that infant soon to be born. So it's a really pivotal part of understanding how our brain develops. So if we have a good understanding of reflexes, then we can be sure to put things in place and to educate people around things they can do to make sure that those reflexes play out as intended in the body. So this process doesn't always happen, and that's probably not a surprise in our day and world as we are at the moment. But with this understanding, we're able to really get the importance of reflexes and to set up a really helpful environment for them to support them to be able to do their job in the body, because we know the research is telling us that if they don't play out as intended, then we are seeing these long-term challenges develop through childhood and also into adulthood. So it's exciting that that education piece is really starting to switch on. And we're seeing research now which doesn't just focus on children with the labels of ADHD and autism spectrum and things like that in the past, where there's been a lot of research done in those cohorts of children. But that is shifting now to look at the research in children that don't have those diagnoses. In a general classroom, what do we see? For any teacher who understands reflexes, you can see them playing out all around you in a classroom, whether that's primary school or secondary.
Yeah, of course, I love the aspect of reflexes because they're subtle and you have to pay attention, but so they're sort of almost like this small aspect of a human being, but put together, they really can tell a big story and then have this huge impact. So you have to be paying attention. You know, it's almost like that tiny little aspect of a reflex that can have this huge impact. What I also love is, again, talking about the investment that we make early on and the impact that plays out, you know, in the infant and then beyond school age, and then potentially into adulthood as well, which again, you know, I think that's the excitement that we're seeing amongst professionals is like, whoa, hold on a second. This is just not for now. This is not just potentially in early years and beyond. This is really big time picture. So let's just hold back a little bit and start looking at those things again. So that's what truly excites me. So I'm just delighted that you're talking about it, because I think that to me, it's about connecting all the dots. And, you know, and I know that that has a huge impact. So Nikki, tell me a little bit about yourself now. Tell me where you're from. I mean, what's your practice like today?
Yes, I am from the Adelaide Hills area of South Australia, and I am a teacher. That's my background, but I also am a rhythmic movement training consultant. So rhythmic movement training is a movement-based method to integrate reflexes. So I began in this work after the birth of my second son. He was born with severe cerebral palsy. And like any parent of a child with complex needs, you're offered many different pieces of advice as to things that you should check out. And primitive reflexes was something that I stumbled across in all of that when he was quite young. And so I found it fascinating. I read a book by Harold Blomberg and Maura Dempsey, Movements That Heal. That was my very first introduction to this whole idea of reflexes. And it was astounding that I hadn't heard of these things before. I thought, wow, if they're so pivotal, why are we not learning about this during pregnancy? Why isn't this information in pregnancy books? Why isn't this what my maternal child health nurse is speaking to me about and looking for? And she may have been looking for it, but the piece that was missing there was actually explaining to parents what they were looking at, why they were important, and all of that. Anyway, I read this book, and it actually explained a lot of challenges that we were seeing with another one of our sons. And I thought, oh, how interesting. And so I sought out Moira in Melbourne. We were living in Melbourne at the time, and began working with her, and just couldn't believe the changes that were possible from a really small amount of intervention. I think that's what's so exciting about these movement-based integration therapies, is that they're so accessible for families. So it doesn't require lots of appointments. It doesn't require a lot of time. It's literally seconds to a few minutes of movement regularly through the week that can actually make profound changes in a body and in a brain. So I just got so excited about it. I thought, I need to know all about this. Yeah. And obviously with that background in education, I thought, oh, wow, this is a game changer. So I began training in 2016 and have never looked back since. I just
never looked back.
It's work that I just find fascinating. I love it, working with the clients, mainly children, but also some adults as well. And I learn all the time from each of my clients. Everyone's body is different, and the way that these reflexes impact and play out in the body is different as well. So I really, really enjoy it.
Wow. Well, you just gave me goosebumps, I have to say. Talk about connecting the dots there. It sounds like your whole world was just, just right there. It took off, in that moment, and your desire to learn and, change the trajectory potentially of your son with the disability. It just sounds fascinating. And I know for many of us, I also have a son too, who's disabled, and the same for me, just having a desire to see things through their eyes is really important. And I'm so grateful to know that of you. Your personal story really touched my heart too. But then seeing it in your other child, isn't that so interesting? Hey, and potentially so many others as well. So absolutely fabulous. So let's just check in here for all of our friends listening today. We better tell them where they're going to find you, Nikki, right? So you can actually go over to the website right now. I want you to go over and check out all the presentations that we're going to have, including, of course, Nikki's. That's just at goldlearning.com. You'll see it easy on the website there for the Gold Learning Early Years Online Symposium. And we have 9 presentations in total, which is absolutely fantastic. And Anne Douglas being our opening keynote, which you're all very welcome to come and join us as well for. Well, it really has been my pleasure sitting down with you here today, Nikki. I can't wait to hear more talking about the reflexes. So again, Nikki's presentation is titled Back to Birth: The Power of Primitive Reflexes to Rebuild Brain Foundations. Thank you so much for joining me here today, Nikki.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be part of the symposium this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again to all of our viewers. Don't forget, you can head over to our website at goldlearning.com right away here to book your seat for this amazing symposium. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.